Hi, my name is Skylar Hollister, and this is my TEL 111 Philosophy of Education presentation. I am doing this a second time because I realized that my first time was way too long. So here we go. The first question is, what do you see as the purpose of education in our society? So the first purpose is obviously to teach students basic skills to function in the world, such as reading, writing, and math. Second is to help students to use the classroom setting, to learn how to socialize, interact with each other, and learn how to display good manners, and the overall life skill of learning how to deal with other human beings. Third being to teach students the foundational steps of what it is to be a good citizen, so treating each other well, working hard, and contributing to the community. And fourth, in my hopes, giving the students the tools and aspirations to go be great. And by this, I don't necessarily mean being great by standards of like being a doctor or a lawyer, or like great in standards of knowledge, but great in whatever it is they choose to do. So being a great parent, a great citizen, a great adventurer, a great photographer, or a great doctor or lawyer, whatever it is they choose to do. What do you think the role of an educator is, both inside and outside of an instructional setting, as a classroom or in our society? So I think as an educator, it is your role to carry yourself with grace, dignity, respect, and open-mindedness. You are a role in the school system of your community and therefore a face of all local educators. And therefore, I think it is incredibly important to avoid any distasteful or controversial conduct, as we both know that your community and your students are watching you. You want to be able to show up in a classroom and be well respected and known for your kindness and intelligence rather than any negative connotations that might be associated with impulsive behavior or bad decisions outside of the classroom. Additionally, I think the role of an educator is also a role of a defender to make sure that students are receiving educations and are able to have open learning minds, and to ensure that they have equitable opportunity at education and a voice. How have your experiences as a student impacted you as a future professional educator? So I think as a student, I have learned under so many different unique and wonderful teachers and professors that I think that it's the greatest experience by far, is that I've seen so many different various teaching techniques and communication approaches and teaching styles that I think that it makes me this modge podge style of all these techniques and allows me to be a better future educator because I've been exposed to so much of it that it gives me ideas and skills to do it myself. What are three qualities that you believe to be effective that you believe an effective teacher should have? Number one, I think being aware of an equitable learning environment and what it means to ensure that all students are receiving a fair opportunity and an education. I think that's the first. The second is being open minded to any students' cultures, religions, disabilities, appearances, or backgrounds that might make them feel excluded, but rather include them into a classroom setting as another unique and beautiful contribution to your classroom community. And three, the desire to keep learning so as to always have new and fresh ideas on how to reach and connect with students and convey the educational material in an interesting and exciting manner that will keep them engaged and motivated. How can you develop or further develop or continue to develop the three qualities you listed in the previous questions? So, number one, continuing to develop an equitable learning environment means to keep making myself aware of any inequities that my students may face. As culture and society develop, so do boundaries and definitions of what is considered normal or odd or out of place. So being up to date on these cultural boundaries and shifting lines is important in ensuring what to keep an eye out for in the classroom, and therefore keeping up with social media trends and the news would be good ways to stay aware of those things. Number two, I feel that for me, continuing on the path of being open minded means to constantly expose myself to new things, meaning new experiences, new tastes, new culture, new everything. So, constantly making myself aware of all these possible life experiences and other possible ways of life is a process of keeping myself open to any possibilities that I may encounter. And third, to further develop my desire to learn, for me, is just to exist. I am always craving creativity and uniqueness, and therefore finding a career path where this is welcomed and flexible, like teaching, is perfect for me. What is your purpose in wanting to be an educator? So I want to be an educator to learn and to teach, which seems simple, but it's kind of like the tip of an iceberg, because I want to learn as far as like I want to learn to be a better parent. I want to learn how to better teach each and individual mind I encounter, and then I want to use that and come home and apply that to my kids, who all three of them have each, individual and unique minds. So I want to develop my charisma, patience, and teaching tactics with each student and each class, and then bring those tools home and apply them in my own household. And then I want to teach students that there's no straight path to live life, that there are a million possibilities in this world, and there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to how you choose to spend your years on this earth. I want to teach others to crave living, to crave culture, to crave adventure and exposure, and I feel like if I succeed with even one child, it will be considered a success for me. Based on your research in this class, how would you change schools or the field of education so students can meet the challenges over the next 50 years? Honestly, I think that students need to get out of the classroom. I think that kids need to be exposed to their communities, exposed to volunteering and giving back, exposed to community gardens and animal shelters. I mean, I know it's a pipe dream, but if I could change the school system, I would ensure that at least half of the learning happens outside of the school, even if it be in the school garden or on the playground at the school, because kids need to move, and a lot of students thrive in kinetic learning situations, and there is a lot to be learned outside of a classroom that can contribute to making kids better future members of our society. And lastly, based on what you've learned in this class and as well as your own experiences, what is your working philosophy of education? So, my philosophy of education is that it is what we make of it. Teachers can make a difference in ensuring their students are learning something, whether it be a lesson or the materials. And students can make a difference in their education based on their participation. So, it's a 50-50 relationship when it comes to like learning materials and stuff like that. But education involves both parties being involved. But ultimately, I think that teachers are more responsible for ensuring that that their students give forward that 50%, and that they are ensuring that they, as teachers, are lively and impressionable and making lessons exciting and showing up. And I think that education is what teachers create it to be. So you could have a stagnant learning environment or an exciting, thrilling one. I think it's what you create it. So that's the end of my presentation, and thank you for a great